Hey everybody, welcome on out to this episode of Cult Classics vs. Comedians. My name is Jamie Maxfield and we are recording here at mediaRif in Kaysville, Utah. And I am joined by these three lovely comedians, and we're going to talk about movies because that's what this whole show is about.
Oh, well,
movies,
makes
right?
sense.
Everybody's movies. We're going to talk about my movie, the one I submitted for you guys all to watch and enjoy, which is a 1978 classic movie called Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
It's a movie that talks about, well, I mean, it is that. It starts right off the bat with tomato murder. Tomatoes murdering people. And then it quickly spins, of course you got to get the government's got to be involved. They got police. Everybody's trying to figure out how to suppress the tomato movement. And it's... And so there's, I don't know, it's really hard to describe the plot.
Yeah,
I'm struggling with this.
Tomatoes killing
You're only
people.
into the first 5 minutes right now.
Yeah. Anyway, they continue to go through this little mess of tomato violence, and then they try to kill all the tomatoes using music and a big dance number. There's musicals that break out in the middle of this thing.
There's like 2 or 3
Yeah.
good ones,
Yeah.
but so random.
There's some
It's
delightful
great.
music.
We sell cars and toys for girls and boys and chairs and beds and shrunken heads. Sugar beets and baseball cleats and ice to Eskimos.
Ain't no time to make a fuss. We gotta get those tomatoes before they get us. We're gonna beat 'em, bash 'em, squish 'em, bash 'em. In the street, we're gonna kick 'em, stick 'em, mush 'em, crush 'em with our feet.
I mean, that's the movie in a whole. I don't know, Jamel, what did you think?
Well, I have to admit that I need a little help with this one because I found a file of this movie that had the director's commentary,
Oh, nice.
Ooh, you
soundtrack. So I haven't actually seen it without the director's commentary. So they spent
Was the director drunk while he was like, oh my God, we just took a tomato and we rolled it at somebody.
Worse. They were like explaining the sight gags. So like they're walking down the hallway and you see a guy showering in the emergency shower.
Yeah.
And the director's like, now that is funny because it says emergency shower, but he's just showering. And I'm like, okay,
He's
that's
explaining all the
Explaining
jokes.
a joke.
they drown out all the dialogue. I still don't know why those tomatoes were killing people. Because I couldn't hear any of the dialogue.
Yeah.
I could only hear the commentary.
We've been killing tomatoes for thousands of years in our BLTs.
Sorry
on our
about
salads.
that, tomatoes.
Sometimes I'll just kill a raw tomato just with my teeth.
Talk about adding
can.
salt to a wound.
The baby
you know.
tomatoes. You don't care how old that tomato is. You'll kill that
Although
tomato.
Native Americans
God.
believe that you use the whole tomato.
You
Then
don't
it-
discard the top part.
Yeah,
you have to eat
I mean,
all.
that's not that much extra. It's not like an apple
Yeah.
core. It's just like a leaf.
I'm just saying that once
They're
we
pretty
abandon that
disciplined.
practice,
Use
that-
every part of the tomato.
use
Out of
that's
respect for the tomato.
Fine.
Natasha, what do you think about this?
I was like, I didn't know anything about it, and I didn't know what to expect, and I was like giggling right away. Like, I just love how silly it is. Like, just certain things that I love with their silliness too. They don't feel the need to like build it up or explain it. It just catches you. Like I was saying, like the scene where they all go into the office and it's like 90% table, and then they
Yeah.
just
Really-
start crawling
It's like a
over it.
closet.
Like, but no one acknowledges that it's weird or uncomfortable. They're just
And you know-
okay, my turn.
Guys,
Like,
just like, this is
listening-
the only room I could get at on such short notice. And they just hang up a couple maps and say, hey, it's a
Yeah.
strategy room. So I watched this when I was a kid, and I'm like, oh my heck, it's so awesome. It's Attack of the Killer. It's tomatoes that are killer and killing.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And then now I watch it as an adult, and I'm like, oh, this is not good. This is...
No,
thought it was
love
funny.
it.
You know what I would
love
say?
it.
seriously?
I agree with Natasha. The opening part of the first little bit of this movie, I mean, when you got a couple of the attacks, you've got that small room.
Yeah.
You've got the Japanese doctor that's always
Being dubbed over.
dubbed.
A half man, half robot.
I mean, like the first 15, 20 minutes of this movie is brilliant. And it's funny because, this came out before, Airplane and even one of my favorite movies,
It
Big
was
Bus.
so much like the Zucker Brothers.
Yeah, it's very Zucker Brother-esque. And then it's like it just went off the rails for a little bit.
There's not enough legs for a Miller Tomato movie to be made, is there?
They made most of the movie and then made the rest of it later. That helicopter
The helicopter
crash,
scene is the best thing.
Oh my
you
gosh.
that helicopter
Oh,
cost
that
more
killed
than
me.
the rest
And
of
that was
the
a
movie
real crash,
put
Yeah.
by the
together.
way.
Yeah.
No explaining why it was going down,
Yeah.
like how the tomatoes burnt down, and just like so chaotically.
That's because I don't know if you knew this. That was an accident.
It was a hilarious accident.
Yeah.
So they got the two actors to ad-lib
Ad-lib
all the
all the
stuff
stuff.
about, right in front of the
tomato
flaming
con-
wreckage.
Yeah, they're like, no, this is gold. Get in front of it. We're not going to lose this moment.
Do you think it started to crash and they're like, we're for sure going down? And he's like, okay, make it funny.
Make it funny. Make it funny.
God, did you see that? A tornado flew right into us. You didn't hear anything. The pilot's still in there. Forget about the pilot.
We haven't talked about, though, is the coup of getting the San Diego chicken in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a...
I noticed they brought him in for the big, big show off at the end when they're going to make the tomatoes listen to
Puberty Love.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if anybody's familiar with that jam.
The vocals were cracking me
So
up.
the
They're
vocals
so-
are the now all of a sudden I can't remember, but it's the drummer from like Soundgarden or something like that.
Soundgarden, and then now he's actually the drummer for Pearl Jam right
Yes.
now. Is the guy who did the vocals
Yeah,
for
he
that
did the
song.
vocal for Puberty.
Well, like half the actors in that movie were people like got famous later.
Yeah.
And the other half were like people's grandmothers.
I did love the news anchor that goes to interview the lady. Oh, so you just lost your husband?
Across this great nation, almost everyone has been affected in one way or another by this terrible tomato onslaught. Mrs. Williams, I understand your husband is missing.
Yes,
Do you
he
think
is.
he's dead?
Well,
Will you miss him?
Well,
Will you marry again? What if he's laying in a ditch somewhere, with both his legs broken, calling your name? You will have to find another man, you know.
Like, I rewound that immediately. That killed me.
The guy who played the president, you weren't supposed to see his face at all.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
really?
were trying to have him like out of frame and in shadow, but their DP was not getting paid.
Yeah,
so.
nobody was really getting paid in this.
The guy that's like Hitler. First of all, his Hitler stash is like not even all the way over. He's black. He's like vaguely doesn't even vaguely remember. And the guy just
First
immediately
time.
sees him. Hitler!
It's Adolf Hitler!
This
Freaked out
movie
with
deserves
his-
credit. It was the first time in history in a major release that went out wide to theaters that an African American played Adolf Hitler.
That's true.
How many times has it happened since?
Breaking down barriers.
That's right.
It's also the first movie that had talking tomatoes.
We've captured a giant tomato.
The lab coats were all stolen. They were shooting in these hallways in like a university.
I need to go watch this
and they were
record
like, they got the military uniforms at a thrift store, and they just stole lab coats from around the building.
The
Nice.
tomatoes were all stolen too.
The tomatoes were stolen.
No, I know.
I always thought, though, as I was watching
Hard-boiled.
that last scene when they had all the extras in the show, I'm like, I can't imagine being an extra on the set for this, where they're just like, okay, you guys need to come up over this horizon. There's going to be a parking lot full of tomatoes, and just start stomping on those tomatoes.
Like there were a few things that I thought were even ahead of their time, like when the guy's got the gun and he's on the train track and the train goes by and so he can disappear, he has to like run. That cracked me. I thought that was ahead of its time. Like
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was. Okay.
I like
all right. Maybe I
silliness.
should recommend. Let me ask you guys. Like for me, this is a cult film. Like this should be
Yep, this is very much.
in the category of cult films. It's kind of for me. This is the second time I watched it. I probably won't watch it a third time, unless I get the director's cut. So I might watch that.
Director's commentary. The commentary.
Yeah.
It's,
So
yeah.
So Natasha, what do you think? Is this a recommend for you? I think you overall enjoyed this film.
Oh yeah, a lot. I mean, I guess I would say it's a recommend for certain people, but yeah, like I'd recommend it, and I think I'll probably watch it at least 1 or 2 more times.
People that aren't afraid of
because I want to look for things I missed, gag wise and whatnot. So
Yeah, Bob, how about yourself?
I recommend this movie because if you like cult classics, cult movies, this is one you've got to see. You've probably already seen it if you like it, but just know that, like I said, I think the first half hour of this movie is brilliant. And because I hadn't seen it in a long time, I saw it actually in the theaters. That's how old I am. And I'm watching it, I'm like going, wow, this movie holds up so well. Oh no, this movie is horrible. But recommend it. Watch it.
Right there. Jamal, how about yourself?
Well, if you've got time to watch this, you've certainly got.
We won't take it. We won't take it personally.
Shade.
This was delightful. This is good for something to put on when you've got some friends over and you've got some snacks. If you have friends or snacks, put it on.
Friends or snacks.
You
You got both of them.
Something you can watch with some friends. You have a good time together for sure.
Yeah.
Recommend it.
Yeah. For me, the best part of the movie is the movie poster itself.
Yep.
The artwork they did for the movie poster is probably the best thing they did for this. Bob, how can
Yes.
people find you?
Well, they're watching
any
them right
shows?
here.
Any shows or anything you want?
You can always check Quick Wits. You go to qwcomedy.com and
Look
just
at my
see what weird
shows.
thing we're doing.
All right. Jamal, how about yourself?
I maintain a low profile.
Low profile. Just find them on the streets.
Watching
I'm
director's
at
commentaries.
Facebook.com/inappropriate content.
Perfect. That will work. Natasha, how about yourself?
She's finding herself
She's
now.
on her calendar. It's like
One of
so
them's
busy.
not on here. It's a poster. Brian Higgins, you guys might know,
Yeah,
has a
love
thing,
Brian.
Ouch My Mental Health, at Sugarmont Plaza on July 28th, and I contributed to a video for that. And I'll be performing at the Soul Lounge on July 29th at Impact Hub.
Awesome. And then, of course, you can find me just on Twitter, Jamie Maxfield. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Cult Classics vs. Comedians. We want to thank our sponsors, mediaRif and Big Shiny Robot, for sponsoring this episode. And I want to thank you guys.
Thank
and
you.
we will see you guys on the next episode.